A very warm welcome to our weekly news magazine program, Bhutan This Week. I'm Tanden Finso. Our top stories this week. The new Indian ambassador to Bhutan, Gautam Bambawale, presented his credentials to His Majesty the King on Tuesday. On Thursday, the ambassadors of Argentina and Azerbaijan to Bhutan presented their credentials to His Majesty the King at the Tashikchezong. And His Majesty the King granted an audience to the members of the Nikim Gonju Tsokpa at the banquet hall on Monday. The new Indian ambassador to Bhutan, Gautam Bambawale, presented his credentials to His Majesty the King on Tuesday. Ambassador Gautam Bambawale joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1984. Prior to his current appointment, he served as External Affairs Joint Secretary in charge of the East Asia Division, which includes China and Japan. Described as the China expert, he served many years in Beijing and Hong Kong. He is also known as U.S.-India Affairs Specialist and served as Minister and Head of the Political Wing at the Indian Embassy in the New Year. The new Indian ambassador to Bhutan, Gautam Bambawale, presented his credentials to His Majesty the King on Tuesday. Ambassador Gautam Bambawale joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1984. Prior to his current appointment, he served as External Affairs Joint Secretary in charge of the East Asia Division, which includes China and Japan. Described as the China expert, he served many years in Beijing and Hong Kong. He is also known as U.S.-India Affairs Specialist and served as Minister and Head of the Political Wing at the Indian Embassy in the U.S. He also served as Director of the Indian Cultural Center in Berlin, in Germany. The ambassadors of Argentina and Azerbaijan to Bhutan presented their credentials to His Majesty the King at the Tashikchezong on Thursday.
The ambassadors of Argentina and Azerbaijan were escorted in a traditional chip drill procession to the Tashikchezong. Ambassador Raúl Ignacio Gustavino, the ambassador of the Argentine Republic, assumed the current post in October last year. Prior to this, Ambassador Gustavino served as the director of the European Union, and he also served as the minister and deputy chief of mission at the Argentine embassy in Paris. The ambassador arrived in the country on a 4-day official visit yesterday. Ambassador Ibrahim Hajiev, the ambassador of Azerbaijan, served as the non-resident ambassador in the Maldives. He has also held other diplomatic positions in India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, the Philippines and Morocco, among others. Following the credentials, the two ambassadors called on the acting Prime Minister, Damchudoji. While here, the ambassadors will also meet concerned officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Dikshoran Doji, BBS News.
His Majesty the King also granted an audience to the members of the Nikim Gonju Tsokpa at the banquet hall on Monday. The Nikim Gonju Tsokpa is an association comprised of retired Red Scarf officials formed upon the command of His Majesty the King. The objective of the Tsokpa is to conserve and promote the cultural heritage of Bhutan. The Tsokpa was established in 2010. Banks might start giving housing loans within this month. It was revealed by the Finance Minister Namgye Dorji during the Meet the Press session. He was responding to a question about the draft guidelines for banks from the Royal Monetary Authority about loans.
Guidelines are at the final stages now. In fact, yesterday, day before, we had a whole day meeting with RMA, and by mid-August, we should be able to open the loans for all the schemes in the country, including housing, vehicle, personal loan. So we have studied the economy. We have also studied the INR position. So we should be able to open the loan.
The removal of the wire mesh fence road divider along the Babesa-Thimphu Expressway is causing safety concerns for both motorists and pedestrians. Our reporter Chimidema finds out why.
The wire mesh fence road divider on the Babesa-Thimphu Expressway was removed in June as Thimphu was being prepared for Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit. Thimphu Tomde says it planned to remove the fence anyway.
There were so many accidents. I think it's careless driving, which has hit onto those wire mesh, and we had to repair that wire mesh every now and then. After some time, we could not even cope up with the repair. It was only during the recent visit of the Prime Minister of India that we have decided to remove those because it was looking really bad. There's so many openings.
But motorists say the removal of the fence has made driving dangerous as people now cross the road from all directions. Lack of zebra crossing adds to the problem. There is not even a single zebra crossing on the entire 6.2-kilometer expressway.
I think the advantage could be the bridge for the people over the road could be more. It can be effective because it's not going to disturb the people who are driving the cars and then people who are crossing the road. So we don't need the traffic police also. So I think that's going to help. That's more effective, I think.
Kadimchibe kongi ziwadi konglo yibe te ngachigi tukodara te nyingadi kara ngachilo te ngachireverlo nyinga kyumese shuni te inre te dandumbe te zonang machindi zebra cross zonang machindi te ngachilo driver disulu namsami te ngachilo phembachi member ta nalefa misri disule phemba imela.
We are come from town, that's why, because there is junction on there, but traffic police are not staying there. So we want zebra cross from here or here.
Zebra cross here chindi de midi cigarettes receive wala midi sigi zebra cross simu and zebra cross na rajome wa dele zebra cross maybe gale de midi siga hisa rotab de ga tab de ani jome wala ani bini ya zebra cross ji wa chindi de ani ranam sim tab de la mapa.
Some pedestrians suggested footbridge would help a lot. Thompen Kiledoji said the Thomde has proposed for 11 zebra crossings on the expressway. As for the footbridge, Thompen said experiences from Phensling showed it would be just a waste of resources. He said the footbridge in Phensling is hardly being used. Thimphu Thomde instead plans to go for underpass.
If we come up with any underpass on the expressway, it's going to be where there is maximum crossing. For example, in front of the Election Commission office, in front of the Sherry Square, where maximum people crosses, we want to have a underpass, well lit, well lighted up. People can even start selling things sitting on either side of the pathway.
Thimphu Thomde took over the expressway in July 2011. Compiled for Chimidim, Dishinongmo, BBS News.
To solve medical emergencies for people who do not have access to all-season roads, the government has initiated a pilot project by bringing in a drone, an advanced technology to transport medical supplies. It was formally launched by the Prime Minister. The drone is another opportunity to leapfrog the road infrastructure and create the next paradigm in transportation.
The Prime Minister launched the drone, an advanced technology and the first of its kind in the country. The drone was first put to flight from the Jimmy Doji Wangchuk National Referral Hospital to Kinsel Podang and the Basic Health Unit in Jamgang. The service is expected to solve medical emergencies for people who do not have access to all-season roads. It's called telemedicine. It's been in the country for many years. Telemedicine is about taking medicines to rural communities, and with shortage of health workers, telemedicine solves the problem by taking the medical supplies efficiently. Today, during emergencies, people have to use road facilities, which is mostly time-consuming. Bad weather conditions and lack of infrastructure adds to the problem.
They have about 150 different medicines which can handle about 95% of the diseases present in the area covered by the health facility. But in medical field, we require sometimes other medicines for emergencies, life-saving medicines. Certain number of commonly used life-saving medicines are available in remote health facilities, but rarely used life-saving medicines are kept only in big hospitals.
The drone is an electric aerial vehicle designed to carry a 2-kilogram load and can travel up to 20 kilometers on a single charge. The founder and chief executive officer of the company that designed the drone said the service is used in many parts of the world.
This is the first place we're trying this at high altitude. So Bhutan is at the forefront. This technology is at the cutting edge right now. We, Matternet, are a startup out of California that are leading this new space around transportation of small payloads using this type of technology. We are rolling out a number of pilots. We're working with some big organizations in the world to basically connect remote facilities to hospitals. For this year, Bhutan has been our first pilot, our first big pilot, our first big trial. And it's the first trial ever at high altitude for us.
The drone is, however, not part of the promises made by the government to provide helicopters. People might mistake the drone to helicopters. The government is in the process of purchasing the helicopters the government promised. The drone is not the one. This is only an extra effort to make telemedicine efficient. The government initiated the drone pilot project with financial assistance from the World Health Organization. A drone costs $5,000. Ishikitup, PBS News.
30 landowners who lost their plots for the Pemagasil's new Denchi town planning have not yet received compensation. The issue was discussed in the recent Dzongkhag Soktu in Pemagasil.
Land acquisition and demarcating plots for the new Denchi town planning has been completed. However, developmental activities are yet to take place. Meanwhile, the landowners who lost their plots to the town planning are not paid compensation.
It would benefit if the landowners who lost their land to the plan could apply loan by mortgaging their plots till they receive compensation. If not, will it be possible if the landowners can use the laktham of the plot for the issuance of permit for rural timber to construct house in someone's land? My other submission is to let landowners to use their plots till they receive compensation.
The Pemagasil Zonda, Srinkyazang said there is a need to look into the problem since they are not paid any compensation.
Since people have not received any compensation till now, I think there is possibility to issue timber permit and to let people use their plots for agriculture activities. But with regard to loan, I don't think there is possibility.
The Land Record Officer said the Dzongkhag Land Acquisition Committee has submitted a proposal to the ministry with regard to the compensation.
The committee has submitted the proposal to the Ministry for compensation. If the Ministry accepts the proposal, we will soon pay the compensation. Only after paying the compensation, the plots will be included in the town planning, and accordingly we will identify residential plots.
However, the Tsokdu suggested to hold a separate meeting between the Gewog and the Dzongkhag administration and with relevant agencies to further discuss and resolve the issue. Compiled for Tinladoji, Sonam Chudan, PBS News.
While much buzz has been created by vehicle and fuel taxes in the country, the impending 5% telecommunication tax seems unnoticed. Although it will come into effect from the 1st of October, Bhutan Telecom says the tax will likely lead to a hike in mobile, landline and internet pricing.
As endorsed by the recent session of the Parliament, telecom service providers will have to collect applicable sales tax on behalf of the government. All telecom services, as notified, shall be subject to a sales tax of 5%. The various telecommunication services used by the people are either prepaid or postpaid services, be it for mobiles, internet or landline. Pushpa Mani Pradhan, the general manager of Bhutan Telecom, says they have not decided on how the tax will be incorporated yet.
I think definitely it will be the customers who will have to bear the brunt because if we reduce their talk time or the air time from 100 to maybe 95, I think the pinch is going to be felt by the customers. On the postpaid side, we are, I think, looking at it will be 5% on the total bill amount. So be it mobile, be it internet or the fixed line, so 5% will be levied on the total bill that has been generated by the customers.
For Tashisel, they're skeptical about maintaining the service level if the sales tax is implemented.
Being a private company, if you look at the experience and trend in other countries with the introduction of sales tax, whereby they call it VAT, so the profit has dropped down in most part of the country, and revenue is expected to go down. And I have a feeling that that's going to have same impact in our company also. So thereby, if the revenue goes down, and a lot of development and upgradation work might get hampered.
The general manager also said rural people who do minimum recharge will bear the maximum burden of this taxation. He added that tax education is important for all the users should know that the tax is imposed by the government and not by the companies. Meanwhile, most people are not aware of the soon-to-be implemented telecommunication tax. Anjali Sharma, a private internet cafe owner in Thimphu, says her business will go bleak if the taxation on telecommunication is implemented. As it is, she has already lost her customers to the increased number of broadband users. The tax, according to the government, is to be implemented with effect from the 1st of October this year. Sonam Chudan, BBS News.
The local leaders in Punakha proposed to do away with the party coordinators and door-to-door campaigns at local level since it caused problems in conducting fair elections. This was discussed at the Dzongkhag Sogdu held recently.
During the meeting, local leaders said it caused more harm than good.
If party coordinators and door-to-door campaign is not there, the elections would be free and fair. Such practice have caused problem. If you have good party coordinators, it's good. Otherwise, it causes problems in conducting fair elections and created division among the people.
I strongly agree with Babkap, since it creates lot of confusion and lots of misunderstanding. If there is one party coordinator, it's fine, but when there are many, it's a problem. Party coordinators have created problem among people in many communities.
But some said otherwise.
I feel there should be a door-to-door campaigns, since it would be convenient to choose right leaders because we get to know the candidates. And in some cases, all villagers may not be able to come for general campaign meetings. But there should not be a party coordinators.
We should continue with door-to-door campaign because we get a chance to interact with electorates and they get to know us well. The door-to-door campaign is required since all the people will not be able to come for general meeting in the village.
Even the election officials across the country had shared that door-to-door campaign is not required.
When it comes to door-to-door campaign, it is not needed. According to election commissions, during elections, Dzongkhag constituency, Geok and Chiok will have a coordinator each. But in practice, all registered members act as coordinators.
However, the Dzongkhag Sogdu decided to propose the suggestions with a request to revisit the laws. Compiled for Chonni Dema, Sonam Chudin for BBS News.
The Department of Geology and Mines has received 2 written complaints that another blast in Gidafu stone quarry on Monday has further damaged their houses. The incident happened after the Department of Geology and Mines lifted the suspension order of the blasting in the mines.
Following the complaints, officials from the Department of Geology and Mines Regional Office in Kasadapchu are carrying out an investigation.
So department asked me to lift the suspension order immediately. So according to that, I have issued a notification to the companies to carry on with the blasting. Actually, it was a department's decision. And team from head office came, headed by our head of department. So they have done investigation and their reports were submitted. In the order which I have received, it was mentioned that the allegations of the crack caused by the blasting was baseless.
Meanwhile, residents say that they were not even aware of the blast suspension being lifted.
We are not aware of the suspension lift. We were not even informed about the lift. They should at least tell us. I think they are doing it on purpose.
Formally, we have not informed the general public, but we have given notification to companies only, but we have not informed the people. Department had not asked me to inform the general people.
Residents shared some of their concerns if blasting activity continues.
We were in field with friends and suddenly we heard a noise and the ground shook. We knew the vibration was caused by the blasting at quarry site. The cracks are from mines. The blasting and its tremor not only panics children, but even we are terrified and scared. We were terrified, both children and adults. It's sad we have to live in fear in our own village. Just recently, my friend came to visit me and she said it's like living in Iraq and Iran where every now and then blastings occur.
There was a huge sound of explosions. I thought it was from the mine that is close to my house, but it was from Gidapu. But I can't blame the mines as my house has cracked from earthquake, and as you can see, the trucks carrying heavy loads might have also caused the cracks.
Meanwhile, the Department of Geology and Mines is expected to carry out technical investigation if the cracks are caused by blasting or not. Namge Wangchuk, BBS News.
Gyoks in Samsi will pilot a collection point for cardamom after local leaders call for more protection of farmers from being exploited by non-local traders. The collection point initiative would streamline the cardamom business and bring in cash into mainstream economy. Sources say cardamom business in Samsi is worth about 100 million rupees.
The recently concluded Dzongkhag Tsokdo in Samti decided to put in more measures to prevent traders from exploiting farmers by piloting a collection point program in cardamom producing gyoks. Currently, most of the cardamom is purchased by Indian traders at a low price before the harvesting season, which means farmers are paid even before the traders get the produce. This, according to the local leaders, mainly happens during the lean season when farmers are in dire need of money.
Last year, a kilogram of cardamom fetched a minimum of 1300 nultrum in the market, while the traders only paid 750 nultrum to the farmers. Had the cardamom been auctioned through FCB, farmers would have not lost huge margin of their incomes. So this is a grave concern, and that is why we should encourage farmers to bring in their cardamom and auction through FCB.
Since farmers already take advances from Indian traders, and since we do not have facility to give them money in advances, We cannot force them to bring their cardamom to auction yard, and in this way we miss out. While I would applaud the initiative about the collection point, FCB would encourage the farmers to route their produces through FCB.
Local leaders said for the collection point initiative to become a success, they need to monitor the porous border properly.
I think if we are serious about addressing this illegal trade between our farmers and non-local traders, we should focus on the porous borders. We should heighten the security to discourage such businesses and even for security reasons.
Besides protecting the farmers from non-local traders, this initiative is also likely to give bargaining powers to farmers. Compiled for Sonam Phinso in Samchi, Tenzin Rapki, PBS News.
Some students of Riti village in Sarpang have been living in temporary sheds near their school because of the long walking distance to school. But thanks to a private education consultancy firm, they now have a hostel.
Riti is one of the remotest villages under Jimisholing Gewog. It is officially 4 days' walk from the road point to the village. Students studying at the school come from places like Karigaon, which is at least 4 hours' walk. And the journey to school is grueling, especially during the summer, as students have to risk their lives crossing swollen rivers several times. They also face the threat of encountering wild animals and snakes, which are aplenty as they walk through leech-infested forests. As such, some students live with their relatives living near the school, and 13 who have no relatives live in temporary sheds near the school. The sheds are in a pathetic condition, but the students will not have to stay there anymore as they have a new hostel. The 2-room hostel was constructed by a private education consultancy firm based in Thimphu.
It was very ramshackle and a very, very on a weak, let's say, weak structure. So we felt, when we saw those pictures, we really felt sorry for the plight of those students studying there in the remote village. And we decided that if we can, we'll do something for the college, for that school.
The principal said it will benefit the students immensely, especially those who come from far-flung villages.
This year, our school was gifted with 2 rooms, a semi-permanent structure, and I think that will save our children from rain and sun, and that will make our children very, very, very happy, and they will be interested to learn much, and that will boost the quality of education.
The hostel was handed over to the school recently. Parents and students celebrated the occasion with traditional songs and dances. The school was started in 2002 and has over 50 students and 5 teachers. Compiled for Puba Teshudan, BBS News, Galipo.
Well, that's all we have for you this week. Join us again next week for yet another edition of Bhutan This Week. Until then, this is Tandin Finso saying goodbye.